What if the silver cutlery set, sitting in a drawer in your home right now, the one nobody uses because it needs polishing, the one your mother wrapped in felt and pushed to the back, is worth more than anything else in that room? Not as scrap, not for the metal, as a set. 10 specific silver cutlery sets have sold for hundreds, some for thousands, and one of them is so common in American homes that most families own it without ever realizing what they have. Go find that drawer. We are about to find out what is inside it. Here is what I want to say first, because this is the category where I see families lose the most money. Most silver cutlery is silver-plated. It looks identical to sterling, feels identical in your hand, and is worth almost nothing. A full set of silver-plated flatware might bring $20 at a yard sale, but genuine sterling sets and the rare silver-plated sets from makers collectors actually chase are an entirely different conversation. The difference between $20 and $2,000 lives in one small mark stamped into the metal. Tonight I am going to show you where to find it. Number 10. Heavy ornate flatware with scrollwork along the handle and a crown motif at the top. Your first thought is silver plate, old, worth almost nothing. That thought is costing people money. Oneida community launched Coronation in 1936, given as wedding gifts earned through grocery store promotions passed down through 3 generations. A standard 8-piece place setting brings $15 to $30. But a complete set with all serving pieces in the original presentation box sold through a specialist dealer for $480. Your test tonight: look for the Oneida community mark on the back of each handle. Then look for silver plate, or EPNS, electroplated nickel silver. Now count your serving pieces: the large oval serving spoon, cold meat fork, gravy ladle, and butter serving knife. Lay everything out and count before you name a price. What goes wrong? The set gets split when the estate is divided. A complete set becomes 3 incomplete ones worth a fraction of the whole. Number 9. Heavy sterling flatware covered in Renaissance motifs. Flowers, fruits, scrolls. The kind of set that sits unused because nobody knows what occasion is important enough to deserve it. Reed and Barton introduced Francis I in 1907. A complete service from the 1920s looks almost identical to one made last year, but the sterling weight and hand-finished detail on early pieces is different in a way collectors can feel. A 12-piece service from the 1930s, with all serving pieces sold at auction in 2022 for $6,200. Individual place settings from the same era bring $250 to $400 each. Turn any piece over and find the sterling mark. Genuine Reed and Barton sterling carries sterling stamped clearly, plus the Reed and Barton name and often a date letter. Run your fingernail along the back of the handle. Early pieces have a heavier feel and sharper engraved detail. Then weigh a dinner fork in your palm. Sterling has a satisfying heft that silver plate cannot match. What goes wrong? The set gets appraised as silver plate at an estate sale. Nobody flipped a fork to read the mark. Number 8. Sterling flatware with chrysanthemum flowers in high relief covering the entire handle. Dense, sculptural, American Art Nouveau, the kind of set that looks expensive even to someone who knows nothing about silver. And in this case, the first impression is exactly right. Tiffany introduced Chrysanthemum in 1880. A single dinner fork in excellent condition sells today for $120 to $180. A complete service for 12 with all serving pieces has sold at major auction houses for over $22,000. Find the Tiffany mark stamped on the back of the handle. It should read Tiffany and CO and sterling clearly. Any piece marked only sterling without the Tiffany name is not Tiffany. Look at the flowers in relief. Genuine Tiffany has crisp, deeply cut petals with visible undercutting. Reproductions have shallower, softer detail that looks slightly melted. If you find the Tiffany name, search completed eBay listings before you do anything else with the set. What goes wrong? A single chrysanthemum fish knife gets donated with ordinary flatware. One knife alone was worth $60. Number 7. Slender sterling handles with delicate scrollwork and small flowers, formal and light at the same time. It does not announce itself, it simply looks like old silver, well-made, unremarkable to the untrained eye. Gorham introduced Chantilly in 1895, the best-selling sterling flatware pattern in American history. Early sets in original condition are now genuinely difficult to find. A complete service for 12 with all serving pieces sold through a specialist silver dealer for $5,400. Individual place settings bring $150 to $250 depending on age and condition. Your test tonight, look for the Gorham hallmark, a lion walking left, an anchor, and the letter G inside a shield. That combination confirms genuine Gorham sterling. Then look for a date letter beside the mark. Gorham used a consistent date letter system from 1868 onward. A piece from 1895 to 1920 commands a premium over later production. What goes wrong? The set gets sent to a silver buyer who pays the melt price. A $5,000 service becomes $800 of scrap. Number 6. Sterling handles covered in roses and fine scrollwork, the kind of pattern purchased as a serious wedding gift in the 1940s and stored in a tarnish-resistant chest for 60 years without being touched. Wallace introduced rose point in 1934. Storr. Sets stored in good condition have barely aged. A complete service for 8 with serving pieces sold in 2023 for $2,900. The original presentation chest, when it survives with the set, adds another $300 to $400 to the final price. Look for the name Wallace stamped clearly, followed by sterling. Then open the chest and count every piece against the original place card. If it survived, Wallace sets came with a printed card listing every piece in the service. A set missing only one salad fork is worth far more than one missing the soup ladle, because ladles are the hardest pieces to replace. What goes wrong? The chest gets stored in a damp basement. Silver that spent 60 years pristine develops irreversible pitting in 5 years of poor storage. Number 5. Clean organic handles with a small acorn and oak leaf motif. Smooth surfaces, no excessive ornament. The kind of flatware that looks almost plain until you hold it, and then the weight and quality of the silver tell you something entirely different is going on. Georg Jensen introduced Acorn in 1915 in Copenhagen. Individual pieces sell new today for $150 to $300 each. A complete service for 12 with serving pieces sold at a Scandinavian auction house in 2022 for €14,000. Sets in original Jensen Prince presentation boxes with paperwork command a further premium. Look for the Georg Jensen mark, a stylized GJ monogram inside an oval, with Denmark and sterling or 925S below it. Then check the acorn finial at the top of each handle. On genuine early pieces, it sits slightly proud of the handle surface with a small visible gap around it. Later, in imitation pieces have a flatter, more attached acorn. What goes wrong? The Jensen set gets taken to a generic antique dealer who prices it by weight. It leaves the family for $400. Number 4. This one surprises people every time. Silver plate flatware with the armored figure of Joan of Arc cast in relief along the handle, her sword and banner visible in the detail. Most people see it and think, decorative, probably a tourist souvenir. That instinct is wrong. International Silver produced Joan of Arc in the early 20th century, and figural silver plate from this era has become one of the most actively collected categories in American flatware. A complete service with all unusual serving pieces, the sardine fork, the cheese scoop, the asparagus server, sold at specialist auction for $1,100. Your test tonight, look for the International Silver mark or the 1847 Rogers Bros mark. Then examine the figure under a magnifying glass. Original pieces have sharp, defined detail in the armor, with individual plates and rivets visible. Worn reproductions blur into soft shapes. Search Joan of Arc silver plate on eBay, completed sales, filtered to sold, to see exactly what individual pieces have cleared. What goes wrong? The figural serving pieces get sold individually as curiosities for $2 each at a flea market. Number 3. Sterling flatware with clean geometric handles. No ornament, no scroll work, pure form. The kind of set that looks too modern to be antique and gets mistaken for a contemporary homeware reproduction. Maison Puiforcat has been making sterling silver in Paris since 1820. Their Art Deco sets from the 1920s and 1930s are among the most sought-after flatware in the world. A 12-piece service with serving pieces sold at Christie's Paris in 2021 for €38,000. Individual Puiforcat dinner forks from the Art Deco period bring $300 to $600 each at specialist auction. Your test tonight. Look for the French silver hallmark, a small owl in a shield, plus the Puiforcat name. French pieces do not carry the word sterling. They use the owl mark instead. If you find an owl hallmark on geometric Art Deco flatware, photograph every piece and contact a specialist in French silver before you take it anywhere else. What goes wrong? The Puiforcat set lives in a drawer for 40 years and gets donated because nobody recognized the French marks. Number 2. Heavy sterling flatware with a raised king's pattern border. A shell at the top, scroll work along the sides, a design made since the early 1800s that in its original form is something else entirely. Paul Storr was the greatest English silversmith of the Regency period, working from 1792 to 1838. A matched 12-piece service of Paul Storr King's Pattern flatware sold at Bonham's London in 2022 for £44,000. A single Paul Storr serving spoon brings £3,000 to £5,000 at specialist auction. English sterling carries 4 hallmarks in a row on the back of the handle. A lion passant, a walking lion facing left, confirms sterling. A leopard's head confirms London assay. A date letter gives you the PS in a rectangle is the Paul Storr maker's mark. Any English sterling with a date before 1850 warrants specialist appraisal before you do anything else with it. What goes wrong? The English silver gets sold as scrap. A Paul Storr serving spoon at scrap weight brings £40. At auction, it brings $4,000. Number 1. The one I promised, 1881 Rogers. Silver-plated flatware made by Oneida under the 1881 Rogers brand, distributed through department stores, given as wedding gifts, handed down through 3 generations of American families. The pattern's sitting in more American drawers right now than anything else on this list. Most of it is worth $15 to $30 for a common pattern in average condition, but a complete matched service in an original presentation chest, all 12 place settings and every serving piece present, no wear through to base metal, has sold for over $600. The chest alone adds $100. Open that drawer tonight, lay every piece on the table, and count what you actually have. The completeness is everything. Most people never check. 10 sets. 1 hallmark test each. Go find that drawer tonight. And if you find something, come tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe. New video coming very soon.